Yo, Big D live on a Tuesday evening talking Monday Night Football and Week 2 recap on the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. Before I tell you about the Week 2 Monday Night Football and Sunday's games, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can not only see the stream but see all the videos I uploaded. Oh, speaking of videos, Big D Podcasts can see all my podcasts on especially audio, Spotify, and Apple. So, be honest, I wasn't a big fan of having a double Monday night slate, and I'm less of a fan. I'm less of a fan now because these games seemingly a little uninteresting, few penalties, not that much excitement from an offensive standpoint. Good if you use like the Saints or Steelers defense last night, but speaking of Steelers, that's where we'll start with. The Pittsburgh Steelers got a much needed AFC North win over the Cleveland Browns, 26-22. Of course, the Steelers doing Steeler things, winning with defense, but to be honest with you, the game wasn't about defense. It was a lack of offense, particularly with Pittsburgh. Because when you think of Steelers football, you think a team being dominant at the line of scrimmage, being able to run the ball. Well, that's not the case anymore. And what if I told you the Pittsburgh Steelers ran the ball 21 times for 55 yards? 55 yards? I know Cleveland's got a good defense and all, but the Steelers cannot run the ball anymore. And be honest, I think Matt Canada is part of the problem. The offensive line's been a joke for several seasons right now. Pittsburgh can't run the ball, and Steelers. And to be honest, I think the Steelers have a really good array of weapons. Deontay Johnson's on injured reserve now, but George Pickens had a 71-yard touchdown. Jalen Warren, Pat Fry moved, Najee Harris. They've got Steelers have more than enough weapons. But Pittsburgh can't run the ball, and Kenny Pickett has regressed. Look great in the preseason, but, in real life, Kenny Pickett's not starting great. 15 of 30 for 222. Mike Tomlin might not have a losing season on his resume, but he's not a great He's not a great head coach for Kenny Pickett because Kenny Pickett is regressing, and I think we're seeing this with a couple. I think we're seeing the regression of a couple quarterbacks: Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields. You know what? You know what all three of those guys have in common? Defense-minded head coaches. Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, Bill Belichick in New England, Matt Eberflus in Chicago. Defense-minded coaches are at a huge disadvantage when it comes to developing quarterbacks. Look at what Mike McDaniel is doing with Tua in Miami. Offensive-minded head coach. Kyle Shanahan with Brock Purdy. Offensive-minded head coach. Let me think. Until Sean McVay with Matthew Stafford, offensive-minded head coach. Defensive-minded head coaches don't necessarily develop quarterbacks and don't develop offensive lines. Steel offensive line has been great, can't run the ball. And in that division, when the weather gets bad, the Steelers need to run the ball. The Steelers aren't going to have 2 defensive touchdowns every game. And yes, TJ Watt, not Micah Parsons, but TJ Watt's the best pass rusher in football. The Steelers aren't going to win games with 2 defensive touchdowns. And in that division, I think the Steelers have problems. I think Matt Canada, mean, I feel like the Steelers almost too loyal. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowell, and Mike Tomlin. The Steelers have gone through three coaching, 53, 54 years. Heck, I think the Cleveland Browns go through about three an hour seemingly. But maybe the Steelers are overly loyal when it comes to guys because Canada doesn't look like it's a great offensive mind. Lack of, I mean, if Kenny Pickett's not finding George Pickens, yes, Pickett the Pickens, the Steelers have a problem. So we'll see. I mean, the season's young, but I still don't think I still don't think the Pittsburgh offense is what Steelers fans want. And with the Ravens starting 2-0, the Steelers have a bunch of work to do. I mean, that Week 3 game in Vegas might be a mini home game for the Steelers, knowing how many Steelers fans live in the desert. But Kenny Pickett doesn't play well. 2024 might be the best QB draft ever. Not saying the Steelers would draft one, but that's not all the question. And speaking of quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson does not look like a fit in Cleveland. And to me, I think the Cleveland Browns are just a team digging and going. But, Baker Mayfield won a playoff game in Pittsburgh during the 2020 season and then seemingly played through a shoulder injury, and the Browns got traded him. And then the Browns went all in for Deshaun Watson, who was going through the lawsuits in Houston and was likely to be suspended and ended up getting an 11-game suspension for the 22 season after not playing in 21. So basically, Deshaun went the better part of 2 years without playing. And last year, Deshaun didn't look that great. And to be honest with you right now, he might look even worse. I mean, yes, Nick Chubb's injury. Hopefully, Nick Chubb will be back because I think we all love Nick Chubb, and thoughts and prayers are with you, buddy. But the Cleveland Browns made a huge look right now. They made another huge mistake. The Browns went after a guy with a lot of baggage and gave Deshaun a fully guaranteed $230 million contract, and he has not repaid him. There were mistakes. I mean, yeah, the offensive line gave up 6 sacks. Deshaun's holding on to the ball too long. Fumble at the end, which gave the Steelers a game-winning touchdown. I mean, Deshaun was 22 of 40 for 235, sacked 6 times. And Deshaun was a good runner, not just at Clemson, but with the Houston Texans. Deshaun looks odd running right now. I don't know if he's lost a little juice, but Deshaun doesn't look the same runner. And yes, Kevin Stefanski's offense is difficult. It's potentially a more advanced offense than what Deshaun ran in Houston. But there's something wrong with Deshaun Watson, whether he's the same quarterback. Deshaun's not old. Maybe it's the rust. Maybe he's not. Maybe Deshaun's just not the runner we thought he was. But I don't think Deshaun's. And maybe it's not playing football for the better part of 2 years because Calvin Ridley didn't play for a couple years and looked just fine in week 1. But when you're a quarterback, you need to play. And Deshaun Watson didn't play. And you can see Deshaun Watson, especially one with his athleticism, the timing seems off. I mean, the Browns have great weapons, even without Chubb. I mean, Jerome Ford ran over 100 yards. I mean, the Browns ran for almost 200 yards. I mean, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Browns have a ton of weapons. A really good really good head coach. And maybe the best defensive lineman in football, Myles Garrett. But the Cleveland Browns feel like they put gasoline on fire. They gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed deal and gave up 3 first-round picks. Goodbye. That deal looks like a disaster right now. And, who's to say the Cleveland Browns wouldn't make things worse than just trade for Jonathan Taylor? I mean, knowing the Browns, they might just trade for Jonathan Taylor because they need to start running back. So why not go get Taylor after Chubb blows out his knee? But to be honest with you, the Browns have to make a deal with Deshaun. They gave him the Browns gave up 3 first-round picks and a boatload of money. And if Deshaun Watson doesn't improve, I'm not saying the Browns should think about it, but I think Browns fans would potentially want, let me see. Hold on, let me see. Give me 1 sec, just looking up Cleveland roster. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, thank you. The rookie from UCLA, because watching the preseason, looked like DTO had some DTO was very elusive, could move out of the pocket, and might fit this offense better. So, in a way, I mean, who's to say what happens with the Browns? Because it seems like everything that could go wrong, Cleveland does. I mean, Jimmy has them. Demands, I mean, maybe unrealistic expectations. I mean, Kevin Stefanski seems like he's coaching with a job. I really like him as a head coach. But it wasn't, but to me, you don't trade for Deshaun Watson without the owner getting involved. And maybe the Deshaun trade won't work out, but for God's sake, Deshaun can look more like the guy he was in Houston. As for the other Monday night game where the New Orleans Saints beat the Carolina Panthers 20-17. First talk with the Saints. I know the New Orleans Saints are 2-0, but I'm a little disappointed with the Saints because I thought New Orleans would look better. I mean, yeah, the Saints running game hasn't really gotten going. I mean, seemingly everybody hurt or suspended. Jamal Williams now hurt. Kendrick Miller, Alvin Kamara suspended. And Derek Carr needs help. Derek Carr needs a running game. I mean, the Saints are a better team. I mean, Michael Thomas suddenly looks like the old Michael Thomas. Jim passes. Chris Olave made a big play in the game last night. Rashid Shaheed's got some giddy up to him. But, I mean, Derek Hall, 21, 36, 228, 1 pick. Saints defense, again, playing really well. Shocker. I think they sacked Bryce Young 4 times last night. In fact, both quarterbacks were sacked 4 times. So what was a defensive dragnet for most of the game. But speaking of Bryce Young, I know people say the Carolina Panthers are morons for playing Bryce Young, But part of Carolina's problem is that Panthers might have the worst receiving core in the league. I mean, Mingo, the rookie from Arkansas, is the only one seemingly a little bit of juice from him. Hayden Hurst is an okay tight end, but Adam Thielen's well past his prime. DJ Chalk just runs wind sprints all afternoon. I mean, Bryce Young right now needs help. I mean, I don't even know if you could trust the running game. I mean, Miles Sanders a really good back, but not behind that offensive line. And then John Mingo's got some getting up, but the Panthers might be the team to make a big move for a star wide receiver because the Panthers don't have their first round pick because of the Bryce Young move. They really need a number one for Bryce Young. Devontae Adams would make sense. Get one of the best, maybe the best receiver of the past decade with a young quarterback. I like the sound of that. And in the division where, I mean, New Orleans, Tampa, and Atlanta, I mean, all three of them are 2-0. Yeah, who would think three teams are 2-0 in the NFC South? Oof. What next? Is this 2023? But I think the Panthers need to give Bryce Young another weapon, if not two. Defensively, I like some of these guys. And some of these guys, I think Frank Reich's a really good head coach. Panthers just need help. And in 2023, you're going to win with quarterbacks, coaching, and weapons. And speaking of coaching, quarterback, and weapons, the Sunday night game is a perfect example of that. Because the Miami Dolphins won in New England, and seemingly nobody wins. Well, few teams win in New England. But I'll tell you how the Miami Dolphins won. The Miami Dolphins play football like it's 2023. The New England Patriots play football like it's 1972. Mike McDaniel is one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in the game right now. What he has done with Tua is unbelievable. Tua can make plays look stunning. Tua gets the ball out of his hands so fast. And, Miami doesn't even have Taron Armstead, Miami's best lineman, hasn't even played. And Tua's getting the ball out of his hands so fast. And it's like, shh, 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 shh. And it doesn't matter what defense they're playing. I mean, if the Patriots want to double team Jalen Warren, Tyreek Hill, boom, Tua can find Braxton Berrios, River Cracraft, Solomon Ahmad, Durham Smythe. All these guys you've never heard of. And unlike in past seasons, Miami's got a running game. Raheem Mostert looks like the Raheem Mostert who scored 4 touchdowns against the Packers on Championship Sunday a few years ago. But Miami looks dangerous. And Dolphins went 2-0, beating Justin Herbert and the Chargers on the road, and then beating Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, and the Patriots on the road. So Miami looks like one of the top, maybe even the top team in the league right now. And defensively, Dolphins all getting after the quarterback, 4 more sacks, and Mac Jones might need to get some of those guys. Jalen Phillips coming back would be big for the depth and just continue pass rush. But looking back on Mac Jones' 2020 season in Alabama, he got to throw with some of the best weapons in college football. I mean, Devontae Smith won the Heisman. Jalen Waddle. was the number 6 pick in that draft by the Miami Dolphins. I believe Najee Harris. I believe Najee Harris was on that 2020 Alabama team. Let me see. Yeah, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle on that offense. Whew. And Mac Jones could just pinpoint. And then Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Najee Harris, everybody making plays. Even Brian Robinson was on that team. John Mechie. I mean, that Alabama team was so good and put up a boatload of points. And, maybe Mac Jones ended up being overdrafted. I mean, you wonder what would have happened if he ended up in Santa Clara. But to me, one team has given to a ton of weapons, that being Miami drafted Jalen Waddle and trade for Tyreek Hill. The New England Patriots have not given Mac Jones any weapons. I mean, they went for Devontae Parker, put together one halfway decent year. Kendrick Bourne, Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki are good tight ends, but this is not 2008 where the New England Patriots won with 2 tight ends. You win with weapons now, and the Patriots have not given Mac Jones enough weapons. I mean, Ramondre seems a really good running back, but the Patriots don't draft and develop wide receivers. And to be honest with you, I bet you Mac Jones looks across a few times and thinks, I'd love to have Jalen Waddle. I'd love to have Devontae Smith. I'd love to have A.J. Brown. I'd love to have Tyreek Hill as my wide receivers. I think Mac Jones can be a top 10, 12 quarterback with the right coach and right weapons. I think Mac Jones could be doing what Tua's doing in Miami or better, because we saw what he did with that 2020 Alabama team. But New England's 0-2 at home. I mean, think 2023 season, the first time since 01 that the Pats have started 0-2. And we know what happened that year. The Patriots won the Super Bowl. So that means New England's going to end up in Las Vegas, right? We'll see about that. But I mean, Patriots blocked the kick. So we know the Patriots defense, special teams, great as always. Have some tricks up this thing. But New England's got to win games low scoring. New England can't really put up 25, 30 points a game. If you ask Miami to get in a shootout, so what? The Dolphins can put up 40 on anybody. New England can't put up 40 on teams. Patriots have to win games 17-14, 21-17. Patriots aren't going to put up 25, 30 points a game. So, and you wonder if Bill Belichick's inability to draft and develop receivers will cost him this year. Because, I mean, the AFC East is brutal. Miami looks really good. The Bills, when Josh Allen doesn't throw it away, and when throw it to the other team, look great. And then the Jets, the top 3 or 4 defense. Could the New England Patriots end up last in the East? It's not out of the question, right? And then the last game I want to mention, Washington-Denver. Who would think the Washington Commanders would be 2-0? But the Commanders all 2-0, and a lot of that's through the play of second-year quarterback Sam Howell. If you did 100 play, if you did a whole bunch of basketball drafts, Sam Howell would have been a popular second or even probably third quarterback in many drafts. But if you drafted Sam Howell and Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, that's not the worst team you can have because um, Howell started really well. I mean, his 3 starts, even the 1 start last year, he's put together 90 plus passer rating, and seemingly visiting teams don't win September games at altitude in Denver. And Sam Howell, especially after the Broncos jumped ahead of 21-3, played very, very well. 27-39, 299, 2 touchdowns. He can run a little bit. I mean, Sam Howell's not Lamar Jackson, but he's got a little wiggle. Not sure Sam Howell's got the best of him, but he's he's a fighter. He's the kind of back who can maybe exceed his talent. And I mean, with Washington's offense, the Commanders have really good offense. I mean, Brian Robinson, 18 for 87, 2 scores, on which Antonio Gibson played more, but I'm not the head coach. I mean, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Cole Turner. I mean, the Commanders have got an underrated offense. And I mean, going 2-0 might be against the Arizona Cardinals and Denver Broncos, but nobody's going to care. But defensively, the Commanders possess one of the deepest defensive lines. I mean, Deron Payne's and minutes in the middle. Chase Hill can get pressure off the edge. If he stays healthy, and get pressure off the edge. And I mean, the NFC least, or maybe now the NFC Beast, is 7-1 as a division. The only loss is the 40-0 shutout that the Cowboys gave the Giants in Week 1. But for Denver, I see problems. I mean, the Broncos should beat the Las Vegas Raiders, should beat the Washington Commanders, and yet they lost both games at home. I mean, Russ has started really well first couple games, but not a whole lot of juice late. Too many sacks, too much holding onto the ball, not enough big plays. I mean, yeah, the Hail Mary might have inflated the stat line and might have inflated the final score, but for a team that has gone all in the past 2 years, getting a Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame quarterback, the Broncos should win against the Raiders and Commanders and lost both games. And maybe having a dominant personality as a head coach and a dominant personality in Russell Wilson could be problematic because we know Sean Payton's intent and Russell's more laid back, and maybe the contrasts in personalities could hurt this team. And the Broncos aren't making adjustments late. And let me see. I mean, the Commanders outscored the Broncos 21-12 in the. I mean, after halftime, if you think from the second, Denver was up 21-3 and lost 35-33. Commanders finished the game on a 32-12 run. And one area I'm seeing, with the Broncos, a lot of penalties, a lot of mistakes. Can't have penalties. I mean, how the Broncos lose in time possession to the Commanders with a decided edge at head coach and Sean Payton. I don't know, but week 3 is a critical game for the Broncos. They're not rocking and rolling this weekend. It'll be huffing and puffing in Miami. So go from the Rocky Mountains to South Florida. So instead of altitude, it might be humidity. So we'll see how the Broncos do. I can't wait to see Patrick Surtain against Tyreek Hill. That ought to be a fun matchup. Will the Broncos double Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? So obviously, week 2's not been great if you drafted a running back. J.K. Dobbins hurt in week 1. Money, Saquon may or may not play on Thursday night. Obviously, Chubb. It's just it's not becoming a wide receiver league. I would hate to have a team with Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins as my running backs thinking, what's next? Jerome Ford looks like the big waiver move week 3. Who would ever think you'd spend your whole salary on Jerome Ford as a waiver tailback this week? But that's probably what it's going to be. So thanks for tuning into this stream. Hopefully everybody stays. Hopefully everybody stays upright and we put up like 1.5 million points the rest of the year. Hopefully the Jags get back in the win column because the Kansas City Chiefs whooped us in the red zone on Sunday.